morning guys, it's Alex, and I haven't been able to film a lot this week because there has been a lot going on, as well as it's been pouring down rain outside. So I haven't done much gardening, except for one tiny detail that's not quite very tiny. It's probably the biggest garden progress I've made all year, and I wanted to at least share that with you guys if I couldn't do a full-length video. So this is probably going to be pretty short, so go ahead and hit that like and subscribe if you want to follow along, and I'm going to turn you guys around and show you what we did. So coming directly out of the greenhouse, this is now how my buckets sit, and I will tell you why. My potatoes are here because they do not need a trellis. If they do need a trellis, it'll be like a net for them to grow up through, and they will be moved, or I will just put something up right next to only the potatoes. But that's why those are here. I wanted more of a walk-through space. So now when you look directly at the greenhouse, there's some buckets to the side here, but I can walk directly through all of here. This space is probably 5 feet wide, by the way. And I could just walk through all of them. I could zoom out a little. See? Yeah, that's better. And I could just walk through right here and through there. This is probably 2.5 feet, and this is about 5. So yeah, I have the potatoes on this side, and then this is actually my property line, which is why I didn't want my containers. They were two rows right here, but it was just too close to the property line, and mowing the yard and stuff was getting difficult, so I needed to move them. Other than the walking path and the property line, I needed some trellising systems, because look at all these tomatoes. Tomato, tomato, tomato. 3 tomatoes. A tomato. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tomatoes. There's 2 tomatoes here. There's 2 tomatoes already in the ground here, 2 already in the ground here, 1 there, 1 over there. I needed trellising. Like, there's not wanted, I needed it if this was gonna work out properly and not look ridiculous. Or take a lot of string like I did last year. Did my trellis work last year? Yes. Yes, it did. Was it pretty? No, absolutely not. It was terrifyingly ugly, as well as I used some like elastic string to do a basket trellis, and the longer I left it there, the more it stretched out, and it was just a lot of effort to keep tying more and more around, or trying to tighten the strings that were already there. It was just a lot. It didn't make a lot of sense, that's what I'm saying. So this year, I have these posts put in now, which I will turn you around and explain what exactly is going to happen with those. So I'm on the side of my house, and we've got these 4 posts. They're not 100% in line. Didn't use a measuring tape or anything like that. We just kind of eyeballed it because it's a garden. It doesn't have to be perfectly square. It'll grow things. But these 2, the 2 poles closer to me, this one and this one here, are the taller ones. This one is the tallest one. And as tall as possible, we're going to attach a 2x4 up here and run it all the way across this way, and the same thing with the other side. So we're going to attach a 2x4 to that 2x4 and run it to that one, and then a 2x4 to the 2x4 and run it to that one, and a 2x4 across those 2 poles in the back. This way, these buckets will be directly below this 2x4, and I'll be able to string trellis, or umbrella trellis, I think it's also called, my tomatoes and my cucumbers from this side. So I will put a string up at the top where the 2x4 is and run it all the way down to my tomato, and my tomato will grow wrapping around that string, and if it gets tall enough, it will then flop over, or umbrella, onto the other side and start growing down this side, which is a very popular technique to do with cucumbers, which is why I planned for this row to mostly be tomatoes, this row to be the rest of the tomatoes that I couldn't fit, and cucumbers, and this one is going to be cucumbers and squash, probably, because squash is trailing and I'll have to have space for that. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. I may have to vertically trellis the squash also. We'll see. I have one more large bucket this size that's going to go right here in place of this orange one. And then these orange ones are going to be interior buckets on the inside of this trellis that will get shaded on purpose. The sun comes from this direction, so all the tallest plants will be back here on this trellising, and then the shorter plants, but still trellised, will be up here on these ones. And then on the side there is where I'm going to grow my peas. And behind my peas is where I'm going to try and grow leafy greens through the summer. And then with the peas and in front of them is probably going to be herbs. So already in this is some, this one is some parsley. And then I have some cilantro and oregano growing other places that I will end up planting some in there. So from this angle, I am standing to the west of my garden, so that way is east. South is that way. A lot of the direct sun is from the west. So I have quite a few trees that block a bit of sun until about noon, and then from noon to about 3 they get basically direct sunlight, and then they get kind of shaded from 3 to 4 with this tree, and then the sun dips down around about above that building and it'll shine directly in here between like 4:30 and 7 p.m. So from here, looking straight this way, if I trellis up on the top here, then this will block off all of the direct sun from 4 p.m. on, and that's too much. So this one is going to have a board in case I need it or have other plans for the winter or something, but I'm probably not going to actually use it as a trellis. This section here is going to stay open so that I can walk in between these with a good amount of area. That's hard to portray on camera. So this is probably 4.5, 5 feet across in the middle that I'm gonna have. Once I put the other orange bucket in place of this one, I might also choose to continue this line from the yellow bucket and place 3 more there, depending on what I need to plant, how much space I have, just depending on needs. Some of these might end up getting moved to that side, and then these 4 might end up more towards that way. I'm not 100% how it's going to end up. So I'm not 100% sure exactly how things will end up. I know the posts are obviously in place and there's going to be 2x4s across the top, but as for which plants are going to go exactly where, I have kind of a generalized idea, but I don't 100% know. I'm sorry that I didn't take you guys along to put those posts in. My love doesn't want to be on camera, and I'm not going to force him to be on camera, so but I will film updates like this for you guys as often as I need to, and hopefully I'll have a new long-form video up for you guys as soon as I can. This broccoli flower behind me is great. Actually, I just saw a hummingbird in my garden for the first time ever now that I let those broccolis flower, and I didn't include any flowers in my garden last year. Like, you guys have already seen that I have some nasturtiums planted, I have some straw flower in the greenhouse, I have sunflowers. Last year I literally didn't have any flowers. In my garden anyway. I had flowers like next to my front porch, but that's a good 200 feet from my garden, so I basically didn't have flowers in the garden, and I had problems with my cucumbers getting pollinated, and I just didn't want to have those issues this year. So I started out just letting the broccoli flower and seeing what it did, and it definitely did something. That's all I really have to let you guys know about the trellising for now. But I guess let's do a quick little garden look through since I'm already here making a video. I'll go ahead and do the outro here though, because a lot of people don't stay and watch the video to the end, so. So thank you guys so much for coming to look at my new trellising system with me, and I will for sure be updating you more on that when it's more completely done. I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm getting close to 200 subscribers, which is amazing. I have not been on here long enough for me personally to think that would have been possible, but it is apparently. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. But for those of you who do want to stay and see what else is in my garden, I'm going to turn you around and show you what I have growing inside, because My beans are going pretty crazy. My cucumbers are going pretty crazy. As you see, there's a fan going in here, but it's loud, so I'm gonna turn it off while I talk to you guys. Oh, it also smells good in here, just like plants creating oxygen and soil and lavender. It's amazing. I do love it in here. Okay, so in here, we'll start with houseplants. We've got spider plant going crazy. I could probably root some of these and plant them, but I just don't need to yet. I don't have another space for a houseplant anyway. Ponytail palm, looking good. I guess he does really like indirect sunlight because these are getting longer and this side is not very long, so I'm probably gonna turn him around. Like that, so that the indirect sun hits this side. We've got this caladium. This leaf is getting old and bleached and old, but there's one new leaf there. This leaf unfurled while I've had it, and then 2 new leaves coming here. This one is going to be gorgeous. My coleus that I replanted with you guys is doing great. Also need to turn that. And then this taro that I got from my local grocery store is looking nice. I have to turn that one like every day. He's very sensitive to which angle the sun is hitting him. All of these are tomato suckers that I have put in cups of water to root. So this is Thorburns terracotta tomato. This is Dr. Wychie yellow tomato. This is Castelluto Genovese tomato and Sunrise Bumblebee cherry tomato. This is an iris that I dug up from a friend's house. I'm probably going to plant it outside. I just didn't have time on that day and it was raining, so I just planted it inside, and I think it's definitely gotten taller since I've had it. I think it was only about this tall when I got it. It fit in my pocket, actually. Oh, it's so fuzzy. Okay, so all of the indoor starts that I have right now are on this table. They are inclusive of these 4 Nada peppers, 1 habanada pepper. This is lavender. Oh, that smells so good. Honestly, I think that this is the first time I've smelled fresh lavender. Like, I don't think I've ever smelled it in a store or in a field or something. This is the first time I've grown it, so. Anyway, next we have honey nut squash, which is all 4 of these plants. This one has 2 in it and is starting to get yellow. I would assume that is because there's 2 in it. The plants are just taking the nutrients from the soil faster than the others, but this one is also have a tiny bit of yellowing starting. So I either need to feed them, like fertilize them, or get them transplanted. And my plan is to get them transplanted. Next we have Jack B. Little Pumpkin. Still nothing in either of those 2. I don't think those are going to germinate. I even dug inside of one to see if the seed had sprouted, and it hasn't. It's just sitting in the soil, so I'll probably reseed those. And then behind that we have these 2 are Sugar Baby Watermelon. Behind the Sugar Baby Watermelon we have, this is Italian Striped Zucchini. Then these are Kiwano Jelly Melons. This is Kajari Melon. This is Parisian Pickling Cucumber. I really want to learn how to pickle. I love pickles. This is the Richmond Green Apple Cucumber. This is the Marketmore 76 right here. This is a Golden Jenny Melon here and here. I realize that they're getting hard to see which ones are which, so I'm sorry, guys. This one is Straight 8 Cucumber for these 2. Oh, Straight 8 Cucumber for these 3. And then Monica Cucumber for this one. For some reason, I have a feeling that the Monica Cucumber is going to be great. Like, I think it's going to produce a lot just from what I've heard about it, reading online and stuff like that. I have high hopes for it, is what I'm saying. Back here we just have this little succulent, and then 3 Hopi black dye sunflowers that aren't, well, this one's a little leggy, but these 2 aren't terribly leggy. Right here we have Clemson spineless okra, and that's a whole row of those. They're just getting shaded out by the beans. You can't really tell where they are. And then look at these beans. These pole beans are sitting there runners just everywhere. I really need to get those planted out. Oh look, that one got burnt a little because it went up in the light. That's sad. That's okay. So as for the beans, we have these ones running all over the place are Blue Lake pole beans. Next to them, these ones that have smaller runners are rattlesnake pole beans. And then, if I could find the tag, we have Kentucky Wonder pole beans that have the smaller poles on them. And then Cherokee yellow wax pole bean, or no, bush beans. Yeah, those are bush beans. And then Black Valentine bush beans, Contender bush beans there on the end. Just in case you guys didn't know, the difference between bush beans and pole beans are these pole beans will continue to produce until the plant dies, basically. They'll continue to produce beans, I mean. And these bush beans will produce all of the beans that they're going to produce all at once, and you have to harvest them. So I have some bush and some pole, and the bush I'm going to have to reseed probably a few weeks after I plant those out. These two blueberries that I got from the Baker Creek Tulip Festival are looking great. They're actually looking really good. This is some hemp, it's technically like craft string, natural polished hemp. Yeah, so this is basically just craft string that I'm going to use to trellis the outside tomatoes and cucumbers and stuff when I am able. And my aloe looks like it's being an aloe. I'm not sure. It still doesn't look great, but I'm working on it. Alright, that's all I really had to show you guys. I just wanted to update you on the trellising that's going on outside and why I haven't been putting up a lot of new content. And then I just wanted to show you around what I've got growing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye guys.